Nightly News with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. It's here. Health authorities have confirmed the coronavirus has reached Tasmania. Tonight, Public Health is trying to contact hundreds of passengers on a Tasmanian-bound flight who shared the plane with the infected man.
For weeks, this lab at the Royal Hobart Hospital has been sending out negative results for coronavirus. But this afternoon, it was a very different story.
Today, I can confirm that a man has tested positive for the coronavirus. Our advice is that the man was on an international flight before transiting via Melbourne to Launceston.
Authorities confirming the 40-year-old landed in Launceston on Saturday, flying from Iran. Touching down with mild symptoms, he self-isolated before seeking medical advice.
He had a mild cough and he reported that he'd had a fever a couple of weeks earlier when he was in Iran. He rang the public health hotline, which was absolutely the right thing to do.
He then travelled to the Launceston General Hospital wearing a mask to get tested, receiving a positive result today. Public Health say he had little movement within the community.
He's actually very mildly unwell, but he will be managed at the Launceston Hospital to provide him with clinical monitoring and support.
He will now be interviewed about all of his movements.
I want to reassure Tasmanians that this case does not present as evidence of the disease spreading.
We have capacity within our system and we're ensuring that should there be more cases or should there be an escalation, we are very well prepared to be able to handle this.
We have had communication with the government, with THS management to ensure that there are escalation plans in place if required, if a mass outbreak does occur in Tasmania.
47 people in Tasmania have now received negative results for the disease.
And to some breaking news now on this confirmed case. We cross live to our reporter Michelle Wisby. Good evening, Michelle. What have we just learnt about this evolving situation?
Rachel, we've just had it confirmed from Public Health which flight the man was on when he travelled in to Launceston. The authority said he arrived on Virgin Flight VA1368, which left Melbourne at 1:10 p.m. and landed in Launceston at 2:15 on Saturday. All passengers on board that flight will now be contacted as part of the response to this positive case, the first one we've experienced here in Tasmania. But experts say the risk of infection to other passengers and crew on the flight remains low. They've also reaffirmed Tasmanians remain at low risk of coronavirus and the public don't need to take any further action at this stage. But Rachel, anyone who was on that flight and is feeling unwell is being urged to immediately contact the Public Health hotline on 1800 671 738.
OK, thank you very much for that update, Michelle. Michelle Wisby joining us live. To the day's other news now, and a family has managed to escape uninjured after a blaze tore through their Eastern Shore home last night. Authorities say the fire started in the bedroom and spread to property outside, with the cause still yet to be determined.
Flames spill out of a broken window, the intense heat reaching out to a car parked in the driveway and setting its side alight. The fire raging from within the room as crews race to tackle the blaze. Black smoke bellowing from the Howrah unit, just moments after a family of 4 made a lucky escape.
They were actually just finished eating dinner and that's when they smelt the smoke and realised there was something going on. But they literally had to get out of the house straight away because the fire spread throughout the building very quickly.
Emergency crews arriving on the scene at around 7:45 p.m. The Tasmania Fire Service saying the damaging blaze started in the bedroom.
The fire damaged a vast majority of the unit, broken the windows through the heat, and it's basically that it becomes exposure where the fire has burnt the side of the car that was parked in the driveway.
The property today left blackened and gutted as investigators piece through the aftermath. The occupants sustaining no injuries but left devastated.
Yeah, it was very traumatic. Some of them haven't even got shoes on their feet, so they've lost a lot of belongings. But the good thing is they all got out safely.
The owner says he feels relieved none of his tenants were injured and that he simply cannot believe the blaze didn't spread to the other adjoining unit.
Luckily, there's a firewall built through the between the two units, and that's prevented the fire from spreading.
It's estimated around $300,000 worth of damage was caused. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's new Premier will outline his vision for the year ahead when Parliament returns from its summer break tomorrow. In his first sitting day in the top job, Peter Gutwin says his focus will remain on the economy, but wouldn't comment on any specific legislation up for debate.
We want to do more on housing, we want to do more on climate change. We want to ensure that we can provide opportunities for those Tasmanians that aren't yet able to grasp those opportunities that do present in our growing economy.
What we will be talking about in Parliament this week is the issues that matter most to Tasmanians, things like access to health services, housing, jobs and the economy.
The Greens say their focus remains on climate change and their latest attempt to declare a climate emergency in the state. Tasmania could become a key provider of an emerging energy source, with the government offering up tens of millions of dollars in subsidies. The government is trying to lure companies to set up hydrogen generators in Bell Bay or Burnie to make us a global exporter of renewable energy.
The Mona ferries currently use diesel engines to power their journeys on the Derwent. But within 5 years, the operator wants to transition them to hydrogen.
We're keen to not be a part of that climate change process. We want to move to a clean, green fuel source as soon as we possibly can.
Hydrogen is being touted as the energy source of the future. Vehicles using the fuel cell technology emit water instead of polluting smoke.
In a carbon-constrained world and a world that's looking for lower emissions, hydrogen fits the bill.
Now Tasmania wants to latch on to that emerging industry, offering up $50 million in subsidies and loans. Hydrogen generating plants could be built in Bell Bay or Burnie and use existing infrastructure.
So you need the water, you need the electricity and you need infrastructure, deep sea port, road and rail. So we're well placed to deliver on the action plan.
Hydrogen is made using electricity. A key selling point of Tasmanian hydrogen is that electricity will be from renewable resources instead of coal or gas. But the big challenge is cost.
There's a global gold rush underway to see who can produce the world's clean hydrogen at the cheapest cost.
The government says we could be generating hydrogen within 2 years. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Farmers across our state's east coast have been crippled by years of drought conditions, but some generous volunteers are taking the pressure off, delivering much-needed bales of hay.
Bailing out our state's farmers with bales of hay. This truck is travelling to Swansea to deliver some much-needed help. A lack of rain has been crippling for farmers across the state's east coast.
Because of the conditions over the last few years, a lot of people have had to sell their stock, destock, but they're trying to hold on to their breeding animals so that, when and if it does rain, they can start again.
185 bales of hay will be delivered, worth thousands of dollars, and it's a delicate job to load them up. Drought conditions across the state's east coast has left many farmers struggling. Volunteers hope that a donation such as this hay will provide some relief.
It just takes the pressure off so you don't have to think about what's happening, how you're going to feed them tomorrow. It's really only what we're doing is really only a drop in the ocean, but lots of little drops help.
To donate, you can contact the Lions Club of Westbury. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
The Bureau of Meteorology has crunched the numbers on summer, confirming Tasmania experienced a season of extremes. Our rainfall was 5% below average, with the southeast worst affected, while the west had above average rainfalls. Friendly Beaches hit the second highest temperature on record at an official site at 41.9 degrees. The state's mean maximum temperature was 0.27 degrees above average, which is less than last summer's increase. More than 100 Tasmanians proudly marched through the streets of Hobart today, advocating for women's rights. The group, led by unions, gathering to celebrate gains achieved over recent years, while also discussing prevailing issues such as family violence and gender pay gaps.
From the right to vote to anti-discrimination legislation to flexible workplace conditions, it is not the same place for women as it was 100 years ago. Does that mean it's the place that it should be? No.
The event was held ahead of International Women's Day this Sunday.
Another Tasmanian athlete has been caught up in the global coronavirus shutdown, with Jake Birtwhistle's start to the World Triathlon Series postponed, while our leading track cyclists are shrugging off a poor weekend at the World Championships. With multiple World Championship medals already under her belt, the North West Coast's Amy Cure was rightfully one to watch in the Madison. But momentum collapsed in a fast fixture as Cure's partner Annette Edmondson struggled to cope with the intensity. In a disappointing night, the pair was lapped and then pulled out of the race entirely. Edmondson taking some responsibility for the result post-race. It wasn't much better for Georgia Baker, failing to defend her 2019 title in the women's team pursuit, the Aussies settling for 5th place. There's more coronavirus chaos for our athletes. Jake Birtwhistle will have to wait to kick off his World Triathlon Series season, with this week's opening round in Abu Dhabi postponed until later this month at the earliest, due to the spread of the virus. It comes after cyclist Will Clark was confined to his hotel after the UAE tour was scrapped. And Penguin has hosted the opening round of the Tasmanian Motocross Championship. Launceston's Brodie Ellis came out on top in the senior lights and open classes. The Suzuki rider will be competing at the Motocross Nationals in Victoria next month, while Will Shuring won the junior lights class ahead of Zach Buxton.
Good evening. A rainy start to the day. To 9 a.m, 35 millimetres was recorded at Mount Barrow, followed by 33 mil at Mount Reid. 18 in Hobart today, Launceston with the state's top of 20 degrees, 17 in Burnie, while Devonport reached 19. Flinders Island, St Helens and the Friendly Beaches all 18 today. King Island reached 17, Grove, Ouse and Smithton 16. Strawn got to a top of 15 degrees. On the satellite, high level cloud clearing from the east this morning, mid to low level cloud clearing from the northeast during the afternoon. Further afield, and high cloud extends from ex-tropical cyclone Esther. Mid to low level cloud covers much of the south coast. Tomorrow, a cold front will brush the southeast of Tasmania in the morning, followed by a ridge of high pressure extending from the high centred in the Bight. Coastal waters and southwesterly winds at 15 to 20 knots about the south and lower east. Swells up to 5 metres in the west and south. And a strong wind warning is in place tomorrow from Wineglass Bay to Low Rocky Point. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart fine and 19, wind easing for Adventure Bay 17, Tarraleah 17 degrees also. A sunny day for Launceston 23, Devonport sunny and 20 and Bridport 21. Burnie sunny and 20, Strawn fine and 18 and Marrawar 19 the top. St Helens mostly sunny and 19, Swansea 19 also with a sunny day there, Whitemark a fine day and 20 degrees. The UV forecast high and very high across the state. Looking now to Wednesday, and a fine day until showers develop about the north in the evening. Thursday, rain for the east with showers elsewhere. And Friday, showers easing and contracting to the west and northeast in the afternoon. Perth tomorrow, looking at a fine and sunny day, 31 degrees, 23 in Adelaide. Late rain for Canberra, 22. Sydney, 23, and Melbourne, cloudy and 20 degrees. It's 14 right now in Hobart, a sunny 19 in Launceston, sunny also in Devonport and 16 degrees. Rach, that's all from me.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Laura. Well, that's all your news for now. I'll be back a little later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.